Welcome to Coffee Havoc number 2. This is going to be two more videos, part 4 and part 5 of Politics Ruins Friendships. So basically, it's an anthology series. Now, earlier, I made 3 videos, they've been posted, and I had to stop so I could do class. So after class, I started looking for videos to back my thing about our current administration and Native Americans and Standing Rock. Found some videos, and I wanted to share some clips of them here with y'all, so y'all won't think that I was not just being biased, but I also wanted you guys to see some of the shit that I said is true. I found one video where he did something good, so I'm going to outwardly admit that, and it was about the Native American Task Force for hunting down missing Native Americans. I will give credit where it's due, and that's about the only good thing that's going to come out of my mouth towards this man. I am not a fan of Donald Trump. I will never be a fan of Donald Trump. I don't support anything he does, except maybe that thing that I just mentioned about him helping out Native Americans with the Native American Missing Task Force. If I can find that, I'll be sure to run that by y'all, because it's a video I just literally saw that shit somewhere. It's like maybe 5 minutes long. Maybe. And just because I said it, and just because it was good, I can't find it. I probably should have clicked on it when I had it, but I didn't. But there is a lot of Standing Rock stuff, and Chris Rock, which is not relevant to what I'm looking for. Now, where the hell did it go? It should be in this line of things that I found on Standing Rock. No. Well, if I find it, then I will clearly click on the damn thing. If y'all don't get away from my door, you're going to be snatching my moccasin out of your butt. That would be a shoe for you non-Native American people. I can't find the damn thing. And only because it was like something positive about this asshat that I can't find it. If I didn't want to find it, it'd be there. No. Let's go and type it in then. I think that was the title. Alright, found it. So it's 2 minutes long. Trump creates missing American Indian task force. One of them is 11 minutes long. I guess they're all the same. And one of them is 3 minutes and 7 seconds. And one of them is 24 seconds. And it basically says he orders the new task force to solve missing murders of Native Americans and Alaskan Natives. So I will give him credit for that, but not too much, because it'll go to his head. And I am not a Trump supporter. In fact, I'm only going to give you the smallest clip I could find, which is the 24-second clip.
President Trump is putting together a task force to solve missing and murdered Native Americans and Alaskan Natives. American Indians and Alaskan Indians experience disproportionately higher rates of violence, and the federal government is taking steps to change that. Federal officials will be consulting with tribal governments to figure out solutions while also providing important information to Native communities.
Now, I'm going to say I only gave you that little snippet, alright? And you want to know why I'm biased. Okay. So let me check the date on that before I open up my mouth. Because I want to at least be fair. Because honesty is something that people aren't really fond of. Now, this thing was done in January of 2020. So this is way after Standing Rock. So he probably did that to save face towards the other video clips that I have been looking at and looking for. Now, I don't know what DAPL means, but I'm going to show you that clip. It's 1 minute and 55 seconds. Now,
for a second time, a group of U.S. military veterans are preparing to deploy to Standing Rock. The former servicemen and women are vowing to block the completion of the controversial Dakota Access Pipeline. In December, more than 2,000 veteran volunteers traveled to the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation to hold the line with who they call their brothers and sisters in the spirit of peace and unity. That same weekend, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers announced plans to find an alternative route for the pipeline. But since taking office, President Donald Trump signed executive actions to continue construction of the pipeline. The Corps of Engineers have notified Congress of its intent to grant an easement for the project, allowing it to move closer toward completion. The Standing Rock Sioux tribe say they will mount a legal challenge claiming the Corps lacks the statutory authority to stop an environment review and issue the easement. They and their supporters, including hundreds of other Native Americans, have been protesting against the construction of the oil pipeline project for months. The $3.8 billion project, which is nearly complete, would carry 470,000 barrels of oil a day across the Dakotas and Iowa to Illinois. Those who live in the area are concerned the pipeline will destroy sacred Native American land and potentially put the safety of their drinking water at risk. Supporters of the pipeline cite economic benefits, including taxes and construction jobs. They say it will provide less dependence on foreign oil. The Veteran Stand Group have started a GoFundMe effort to raise money for the protesters. So far, the campaign has raised over $250,000 of the $500,000.
that's enough of that. My point was made with since taking office. Alright? Now, I got another one with the TYT, which is the Young Turks. For those who don't watch the Young Turks, you should probably look into the Young Turks. They do a lot of good things. You know, not like ethnically, but like ethically. You know. So I'm going to give you a little bit of this. And this headline says, Standing Rock protester, Trump has awoken a generation. A whole generation, excuse me.
Dan Lenepkin, and
So first,
we've spoken
that's,
before. Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Politics. I'm here at Sacred Stone Camp in Standing Rock. I'm here with Dan Lenepkin, and we've spoken before. You have one of the, I view as kind of like one of the most images that will be remembered from this movement. A couple months ago, you were in your full Native garb and in prayer. So you're back. I'm back here, and kind of wanted to get a feel for what's going on at camp. It seems like there's a lot of energy here, a lot of building going on, teamwork, and the spirits seem high. What would you say about how things are here?
Well, I've been really blessed. Right now, we're putting my yurt back up. I came back from Washington State, and my yurt's been flooded out. And, it was a really daunting task, overwhelming, because I showed up by myself and just seeing all the work. The yurt was encased with ice, mud, snow, all sort of things. I didn't think I could handle it by myself, but the spirit of Standing Rock here, brothers and sisters, many of them I just met. They just pitched right in and helped, and it was really incredible. So yesterday, we did a lot of work, and today we're up on top of the hill, and they're helping me out, and a few more people joined in and just start helping each other out, no questions asked. And I think that's just the beauty of what I see here is people just working in unity. And I know my concern is there's a lot of ice, a lot of snow, and people get really exhausted trying to move camps and to clean up, because there's a lot of things that are frozen in the ground. And I know with the pressure of the 22nd upon us quickly, it's going to be really hard to say if camps could even be moved out by then. But just so it's awesome to see people just pitching in and helping one another.
And people seem to have high spirits, even though the final permit was granted, even though a lawsuit yesterday was denied, and natives continue to say we're in prayer, keep our prayers. Tell us about just that kind of faith that Native Americans have. How do you feel, even though right now, in terms of the pipeline, things seem to be going the company's way?
Well, that's all we have when it comes down to it is prayer. Each and every day of our
Amen.
lives.
I'm going to stop right there. A lot of things that this goes on to talk about is just the whole CF of what's been going on. But it's also not as relevant to my other videos. This one is a little bit more relevant to my videos just by outwardly admitting and I'll be the first to say that this whole thing is one big ass clusterfuck. But this is another reason why I say politics ruins friendships and everything.
As you know, I approved 2 pipelines. I did the Dakota pipeline, and nobody called up to complain.
Oh, they complained. You just didn't care. Now I can show this one because it's only 1 minute and 14 seconds.
Dakota Access Pipeline. Again, subject to terms and conditions to be negotiated by us. And nobody thought any politician would have the guts to approve that final leg. And I just closed my eyes and said, do it.
And the reason why I can show you that whole thing is because it's only 1 minute and 14 seconds. And I may be coming off wrong to y'all. Y'all have your opinion, and you may be right about your opinion. But you're right about your opinion as how it affects you. Now that was in 2020. Yeah. So I don't know when they recorded it, but it says premiered August 10th in 2020. So that's like 2 months ago. So I don't know why they're bringing up something from 2 months ago. But I wanted to point that out, to the people who are wondering why I am so against this monstrosity that we call a leader. Now the next one relates to that. It's a young lady. It's 7-something, and it was in 2016 when the thing actually started becoming an issue. It's 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So she's gonna explain some shit to us both because I haven't seen this, but Standing Rock, Trump, America's least greatest moment, news broke. AJ. I have no idea who she even is. But I'm going to let you guys watch it. And, the whole 7 minutes and 40 seconds.
The decision on the Dakota Access Pipeline might very well land in the lap of a man who's been compared to Andrew Jackson. Hello, Trump of Tears.
That was a stab at the Trail of Tears.
I don't know about you guys, but I am finally starting to feel better about the election of Donald Trump. But this isn't a time to sit around. It's a time for action. And one group that hasn't let the election interrupt their work, the protesters at Standing Rock. Since the end of the summer, over 100 tribes and supporters have tried to stop the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. It's slated to run through territory that once belonged to the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. They say it violates sacred burial grounds, and if it breaks, could contaminate the Missouri River and their drinking water. Critics also say the pipeline will be another notch on the belt of American dependence on fossil fuels. The one we're hanging ourselves with. The thing is, the federal body that initially approved the pipeline did so based on an environmental assessment done by the company that happens to be building it. Now under pressure, the Army Corps of Engineers is walking back that approval. Energy Transfer Partners, however, is suing them, which might actually be a good strategy, because embroiling this whole thing in court could delay things long enough for the man who accidentally became president to become president. And when he does, Energy Transfer CEO says the pipeline is in the bag.
Oh, it's 100%. 100% that the easement gets granted and the pipeline gets built.
That sounds weirdly confident. It's almost as if the hate Twinkie has $500,000 invested in the company. Oh my God. I don't know. I mean, it could be a good thing. When the pipeline breaks, they can just pump Trump wine through it and we can all be friends.
She is also clearly not.
But despite all that, Standing Rock, apparently, you're protesting wrong. Allow the CEO of the American Petroleum Institute to oil-splain it to you.
We need to be careful in this country that we send a signal that we are a nation of law. And if individuals arbitrarily try to skirt that system or try to revoke activities, it's akin to a third world nation where there is no rule of law, no stability, or no certainty.
You know, Jack, you're right. Let's talk about how our civilized, first world nation came to respect the rule of law. To do that, we have to go back not 2 months, but 200 years, in a segment I like to call America's Least Great Moments. In an America 250 years before the time of Trump, which those were the days, weren't they? The Sioux Nation traveled freely across the Great Plains, hunting buffalo and not Instagramming their kill. There were 20,000 of them, divided into 3 tribal groups. The largest, the Lakota, lived in and around Standing Rock. But the United States, which at the time was only 30 states, got members of the Great Sioux Nation to sign the 1851 Fort Laramie Treaty, which assigned each tribe a territory in which they were to stay and would not be bothered. Just kidding! Settlers wanted a railroad! Choo-choo, motherfuckers! The railroad was built through native land, breaching the terms of the treaty and leading to the overhunting and ultimate decimation of the buffalo, screwing over the Sioux's food source. After over a decade of more battles, a second treaty is signed. We'll call this one the We Meet at This Time Agreement of 1868. It said the Lakotas had to stay within the Great Sioux Reservation, but were guaranteed sovereignty. No whites allowed. Psych! 1874, gold is discovered in the Black Hills, land owned by the Sioux. General Custer invades, violates the treaty, and opens up the area to white settlement. Think gentrification if Pinkberry were the name of a rifle. The Sioux, led by Sitting Bull, refuses to sell the Black Hills, and the land is still disputed today. 2 years later, when the Sioux miss a deadline to return to the reservation, Custer's army enters native territory, and they all met their death. And that was the Battle of Little Bighorn. But before you scream, settlers' lives matter, remember December 29th, 1890. The Wounded Knee Massacre, when U.S. troops surrounded an Indian reservation in South Dakota, killed their chief and 300 men, women, and children. The soldiers got 20 Medals of Honor, the most awarded in any American war. And the Sioux got 150 years of cultural and economic decline, higher than normal rates of suicide, sexual assault, and drug abuse. The Supreme Court in 1980 ruled the government had illegally taken Sioux land and violated treaties, compensating the nation with $105 million, money the nation refuses to accept. Which brings us to today. Instead of gold, it's oil. And Sioux descendants, along with other tribesmen, are being tear-gassed, shot at, and arrested for trespassing. Trespassing on land that's, well, theirs. So, what was that you were saying, Mr. Oil CEO man?
We need to be careful in this country that we send a signal that we are a nation of law.
Oh, don't worry, we see the signals. Morton County Police have successfully co-opted the smoke signal. And now we've got President-elect Donald Trump, who in office will be known by his native name, Sitting Bull. Trump's closest advisors liken him to another notorious president. No, not Reagan. Not Nixon.
This is like Andrew Jackson's victory.
Clearly, there's a lot of parallels, I think, to Andrew Jackson.
But he may just be like Andrew Jackson.
Who was Andrew Jackson? Not only is he the guy with the best hair in your wallet, he was a loudmouth populist outsider who demonized the political elite and said he would, quote, sweep the stables of Washington. Sound familiar? During his 8 years in office, he only signed one bill into law, the Indian Removal Act. See how this is coming full circle? Years before the Sioux's last stand, the Indian Removal Act required tens of thousands of Native Americans to make way for settlers who wanted land for agriculture, like cotton. Yep, slavery, you've got a part in this story too. When southeastern tribes refused to move, they were forced to do so, leading to what became known as the Trail of Tears, a journey on which 4,000 Cherokee Indians died. Still, Jackson defended the Indian Removal Act, saying that it would help tribes to, quote, pursue happiness in their own way and under their own rude institutions, and perhaps cause them gradually to cast off their savage habits and become an interesting, civilized, and Christian community. What a charmer! I can't wait for Lin-Manuel Miranda's Andrew Jackson musical starring Scott Baio. So it's particularly fitting that the battle over the Dakota Access Pipeline comes at a time when Jackson Reloaded is about to be sworn or cussed into office come January. Not only does he have a vested interest in making sure the pipeline is built, he wants to create registries of Muslim immigrants, pursue policies of mass deportation, and has some unforgettable hair. So the next time you hear Trump or anyone talk about the importance of law and order or getting in line and waiting your turn to become an American, just remember, no lectures on the law. After all, America was founded on breaking it. And oh yeah, you weren't here first either.
Enough said. I like her. I wish I would have known about her in 2016, which is when this video was shot. But I can rectify that problem by subscribing to her right now. Let's do that. A lot could happen in 4 years, though. So, I mean, a lot really can happen within 4 years. So, there's another one, and I'm going to show it. And then I'm going to get into the guts and glory in the next video, because this is at the 21 mark, and this thing is 3 minutes and some change. I'm actually going to show 2 more videos. This one and one more, actually.
The Dakota Access Corporation didn't have an easement to drill under the Missouri River. And on December 5th, that easement was denied.
When the easement got temporarily denied with a limited environmental impact statement, I'm still in shock of that now. In fact, I didn't even celebrate that day.
Had to stop drilling, stop digging rather, laying pipe. And they kept laying pipe right up to the drill pad, and that's where they sit today.
The lights that are coming on now are the Dakota Access Pipeline law enforcement lights. They try to light up the ground between the camp and the drill pad so that they can see if some action is going to go on.
I was here when the camps got established in April, and I've been here ever since. I go between here and my home on the reservation.
Something here that's going on at Ochete Shakoi camp, and that's decolonization thinking. And it's a camp of young people, and many of them probably don't articulate it like that, don't look at it that way, but from the eyes of an elder who's been at this all my adult life, I could see that. I could see that happening.
Before this happened, our people didn't go up there out of respect. But now we have a responsibility to let them know that they should not be there.
Really, what we need to find is our old way of living. We need to get back to those traditional ways of our people, of indigenous people, of living closer to the land and living in a less consumptive society.
We deal with this situation in land protection and resource protection every decade. And every different political regime to us has never been in our corner, whether it be Republican or Democrats.
I believe that Donald Trump will approve the easement to allow Dakota Access to drill under the Missouri River.
Even with Hillary Clinton, she was talking about natural gas as being a bridge fuel to our needs for energy, and I don't agree with that either.
Too much big business, not enough protecting the environment and the people, and worried about the welfare of the people.
As far as I know, the pipelines, the water that we're fighting for, he owns part of the company.
That's why it's more important than ever that we stay and we stand and we prevent the Dakota Access Pipeline from going through.
But Trump, he's a businessman. He ain't no president. He knows how to do business is
What we expect to see, what I expect to see, is an even bigger revolution.
We're going to constantly be up against politics. So Trump is just another one, only just a little crazier.
Our limited resources is going to be extinct if we, as a people of this planet, do not stand together.
Now, we're going to do one more. So in case you guys want to know why I'm highly upset in videos 1, 2, and 3. And this is number 4. So here we have a guy calling him out or whatever. He's a tribal leader or a Standing Rock speaker or whatever.
So in an interview with MSNBC, Standing Rock Sioux leader David Archambault II spoke out about Donald Trump's recent executive order that revives the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline and also expedites the construction of it. So he talked about why this is really harmful to their tribe and their sovereignty and their drinking water. And I wanted to hear him out. I wanted people to hear what he had to say because when it comes to the rights of historically oppressed groups, the federal government has made it clear that they don't care what they have to say and they don't want to listen. And Donald Trump did not listen to what the Standing Rock Sioux tribe had to say. But as progressives, we listen. So I wanted to talk about this because I want David Archambault's message to be heard. Here's what he had to say.
We were prepared for President Trump to take a run at everything that we had accomplished over the past 2 years. We had asked for an environmental impact statement because we had concerns, and the troubling thing is that this president is circumventing federal law. We have treaty rights, we have water rights with our Winter's Doctrine, we have NEPA, and the Environmental Protection Agency was put in place for a reason. It was because corporate world was contaminating water, the corporate world was contaminating our air, corporate world was contaminating our lands. So for this president to come in and say, we're going to streamline everything and forget the Environmental Protection Agency, forget all the federal agencies that are making sure that the things that are important to this world are protected. He's coming in just trying to streamline everything for money and greed, and there's a huge conflict of interest with this. You know, he received a lot of money, $100,000 from the executive of Energy Transfer, ETPD, Energy Transfer Partners, for his campaign. He also has investments in Phillips 66, where this crude oil is going to be shipped and get refined. So he's going to benefit, and a lot of the lawmakers get contributions from the industry. So the federal laws are in place to try to facilitate the fossil fuel development, in keeping in mind that these laws are being created by people who receive money. So this is not about protecting people or complying with law. It's about money and greed. And this president, this nation better start bracing itself for what's to come. If we're starting to witness in the first 4 days him using an executive order to circumvent federal law, it's not right, and it's something that we better get ready for. I was disappointed that it came this soon because we had worked so hard for the last 2 years, and the president didn't even reach out to try to hear our side or understand the concerns. There are local issues that are taking place, and we've been working with the state government to try to address these issues. Now this just stifles all the work that we've been trying to get accomplished in the last few months.
I know that you've had continuous talks with the congressional delegation looking for some assistance from members of Congress. The delegation all support the pipeline here, not to paint this as a battle that is over, but your legal and political remedies at this point, what do you see as your next best chance?
You know, we're going to continue to look at the validity of this action, and we're going to continue to talk to anyone that would be willing to listen to us in the administration to try to understand why there is resistance. And we're going to continue to try to get support from Congress, who are not fed by the industry, and really open the America's eyes on what's happening here. this is scary times, especially if EPA is given a gag order and not to comment on anything, not to put anything out on media, not to discuss this issue. This is
That's enough. This video was filmed in 2017 also. I wanted to bring this to y'all attention. So when I go to the fifth video, you'll understand my issue